Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I'm going to explain to you how to knit a cable stitch and how you can create different patterns with it. Also, I'm making a voiceover for this project. Now, I used a waist yarn for this project, color red, and my equipment tools that I used a scissors. I also used a selector. Then I used 2 by 2 transfer and 3 by 3 transfer. So this is 2 by 2 transfer, and I'm going to show you 3 by 3 transfer. So these are the things you will need for this project. You honestly can't do without these things. Now, I'm going to identify stitches 35 because I'm making a swatch using my selector. I will identify stitches 35. But before then, I'm going to show you a sample that I made for myself. Then a client saw it and he requested for two. So I made two pieces for him. Now I'm going to move my canvas close to the camera for you to see, and I'll show you how I passed my yarn through my canvas. Then I'm also using tension 8. Tension 8 sits well for me. You always pass it inside where you're seeing 1. Now I'm using a silver machine, silver SK360. That is what I'm using. You can use any knitting machine to achieve this project. Any knitting machine works with it, whether a brother machine, silver, Rika, whichever one. Now I use my selector to identify stitches 35, and I moved it from position A, which is the dormant position, to position D. Now I'm going to explain in one of my videos how to use these positions. They have their own functions. So now I want to do the E-wrap casting on. So I'm trying to move my camera closely here. So now I'm doing my E-wrap casting on. And if I'm doing my E-wrap casting on, because my cam box is by my right, then I'll start from my extreme left. So if your cam box is by your left, you start from your extreme right. Now for you to do this, you have to do this anti-clockwise. So because I'm starting from my extreme left, I'm rolling it on every stitch and I'm doing it anti-clockwise. So for beginners, you have to be very careful if you are doing this, because most times some people make mistake. Even me too, I make mistakes sometimes. So I take my time while doing it. So I'm trying to repeat it again. You move it anti-clockwise. So once you move the first stitch, you drop the other one that you're holding. Then you use your thumb to move it inside. You do that one after the other. So the reason why you are doing this to avoid excess wool or to avoid breakage while knitting. So most times if I don't do it well, like if I don't use my thumb to take it inside and I knit, it cuts. So I'm trying to avoid that. So that is why I'm using my thumb to move it inside. So they are in position D and I'm rolling it on every stitch. I'm doing it anti-clockwise. So you do that one after the other. So you are trying not to miss any stitch. So sometimes when you are doing this, you can miss one or two stitch, but you do that, and as you're doing it, you have to check. So at some point, I'll be done doing it. So you also need to take your time while doing it. So now that I'm done doing everything, I'm going to move the remaining excess wool that you can see by my right hand side. I move it through my antenna. Make sure it is straight, make sure it is seamless, so I'll be able to knit freely. There won't be anything. So now you're going to knit once. Now you need to take your time for beginners whenever you're knitting this. So you try to hold that tip, then you move your can box to the left. You move it once. After you move it once, I guess one fell at some point, one of my stitch fell. You use your selector to move them back to position D. So you're going to do this either 4 to 6 times before you knit smoothly or you knit freely, whichever one. So the reason why I'm doing this is to avoid any issue or any breakage of my stitch or needle. Now, as I said, there was one that fell, so I'm trying to put it back. Okay, after that, I'm going to also knit. So I'm knitting the second time. After I knit the second, as I said, 4 to 6 times, I'm still going to move it back. I'm still going to move it to position D. That is what I am doing now. So as I said, one fell, so I'm trying to pick it. So as I said, you need to be very, very careful while doing this so that you won't see any issue once you are done. So you move everything to position D and move. Now this is a silver machine. We have A, B, C, D. While a silver machine, it is A, B, D, E. So later, as I said before, I'm going to explain to you the functions of all these positions. There is a reason why the stitches are in position A, position B, position C, and position D. There is a reason for everything. Now I've knitted the 4th time. Okay, I guess 2 of my work fell, so I'm trying to move it. Okay, so I just yarned over, then I've done that. So you need to also move it again. So I guess I'm going to do this 5 times or 6 times, I can't remember, but just do it like 5 to 6 times so you'll be able to knit smoothly and freely. After this, I'm going to use my hanging weight. So you can use either your hanging weight. So I'm about to use my hanging weight, so you just hold it both sides, or you can use your comb, whichever one you feel sits well for you. So for this project, I'm going to use my hanging weight. So now I'm going to knit 20 times before we start the main project. Now I have knitted 20 times, as you can see. So to start this, I'm going to use the 2x2 transfer. Now to do this, because this is just a swatch, I'm going to count 8 times. So I'm going to start from my left. So it's either you start from your left or right, whichever one you feel works well for you, that's fine. So after you count 8 times, so the 9th and 10th, 11th and 12th, you bring them out. So you are going to use your transfer tool to jack it. So once you jack it, it's going to enter, you are going to insert it inside the transfer tool. Now for this project, I am going to move it from my right to my left for all of them. So it's either you start from your right to your left or left to your right. So if you start from left to your right, you're going to start with that and end with that. But for this project, I started with my right. So as I'm moving it from my right to my left. So from the 11th, 12th to 9th, 10th, then I transfer the 9th, 10th to 11th to 11th, 12th. So after this, I'm going to count 8 times. So it's not a mod that has to be 8 times. You can make it 9, you can make it 10, you can make it 11. That's for the spacing. Now I did mine 8 times just for you to see. If you want to make your project, you can make it 12 or 13, whichever one. So then I've counted 8 again. So as I said, I'm moving it from my right to my left, then left to my right. After you do this, you just take it back, or you can bring them out to position D. So either I leave it in position B or you bring it out to position D. So I'm doing it again. I counted 8 stitches, then 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. So I'm moving it from my right to my left, then left to my right. That is how to create cable stitch. So you do that round till you get your desired length. After you do this, you are going to knit 8 times. So this is just a swatch, please. So I knitted 8 times. So you can make it 10 times. You can make it 11 or 12 or 13 or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whichever count. So whatever you use for the first one, you have to continue with it to give you that shape, to give you the cable shape. So now that I have done this, I'm going to knit 8 times. So the very first one can be tight a little bit, but I'm going to show you another way to make it seamless. So I'm going to knit once. Now I told it's going to be tight at some point. Then I'm going to knit it 8 times. So it's just the first one that was a little bit tight, but there's another method I'm going to show you. Now after I knit 8 times, you come back to repeat it at that same spot. Please, it has to be at that same spot. So the very first time I counted 8, so it's the 9th to 10th, 11th to 12th. So I'm moving it from 11 to 12 to 9 to 10. So I'm moving it from my right to my left, then left to my right. So just take your time to watch this. So that's what I just did now. I moved from my right to my left, then left to my right. So the reason why I'm taking my time to explain this part to you is because I really want you to get it. It is not as hard as you think, because I'm always saying left to right, right to left. No, just take your time. You're going to get it. So you do this every time. So it's going to align. At some point, I'm going to show you. I'm going to do like 10 times before I move to the other one, which is the 3x3 transfer that I'm going to use. So that's what I'm doing. Then I count 8, then move it from. Before you move it, you have to insert the yarn inside the transfer tool, so you'll be able to move it seamlessly. So you count 8, that's the last one, then put it inside, then you're going to transfer, that's the right, move it inside, then left, then knit 8 times. So I'm going to do that till I get to like 10 rows. That's for the cable stitch itself, 10 rows. Then I'm going to switch to the 3x3 transfer. So if you want to make your project, is either you use the 2x2 transfer tool, or you do the 3x3 transfer to whichever one you feel works well for you, because at the end of this video I'm going to show you the result of it. So that was what I just did now. I counted 8, so I'm using the 3x3 transfer. So you just move it, then move it again. Then so this is another method. So instead of you to take it inside to position B, you can bring them out to position D. So it's going to move freely. Yeah, it's going to move freely. So that's what I'm doing. Take your time. This is a very, very beautiful design. Trust me. It's once you see my outcome at the end of this video, you're going to love it and you want to try it. And you can also play with colors. Do you understand? So what I did, I worked with just plain colors, but you can also play with colors. You can change colors as you're knitting. So this is another method. It moves freely. So I'm going to knit 8 times. So I first did the one of 2x2 transfer. Then I did 3x3 transfer, and I also moved to 2x2 transfer. So I just did that for you to see. I'm done with 2x2 transfer. So I now knitted 20 times. So as I said, this is just a sample. You can make anything with it. You can make a dress, you can make a top. So I later switched to comb. Then I want to cast out. So if I want to cast out, I love to use needle. I'm sure I've said it in my previous class before, my previous video rather. So you just gauge it into 2, then pass the yarn through the long needle. It's advisable for you to use long needle. So once you pass that, then you bring out all the stitches, because I want to cast out. So the way I cast out is very easy, and it's something that you will like. I use my selector to move everything to position D because I'm already done. Then I just move it back to position C slightly, so I'll be able to cast out. Now I'm casting out one after the other. I'm sure you can't wait to see the end of this video because the design is top notch. This is a design you need to work on and your client will love it. Trust me, your client will love this design. So now that I'm almost done, and most times when I'm done with my work, I love to move the stitches back to position A, which is the dormant position. So I'm sure people are ready to see this work. I made it in different colors: red, off-white, yellows. This is it. I'm sure you love this design. So you can see the demarcation and the difference, the 2x2, 3x3. So I'm sure you love this video, you love the outcome, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.